be going into the cash management solution that exists in Fusion. Okay, let me share my screen. So cash management is a module that takes care of primarily bank and um, and doing reconciliation with the bank statements, doing transactions, doing a matching between the what is there in the bank and what is there in the books of account. So to ensure that both the tallies are the same. So payables, receivables, payroll, these are the three main modules that interact with cash management. Besides, there are also other modules like lease, payments, and all those that interact with it. Basically, all transactions relating to banks are in cash management. Now, cash management not only deals with banks, but it also helps you to create transactions in cash management which are not there in payables, receivables, or in payroll. For example, there could be transaction like bank charges that the bank has imposed on the account. A check was sent for clearing, check bounce, bank has imposed a charge, or the bank has imposed a charge on has put a has a annual account charges. So those things are usually automatically imposed by the bank without discussion or without informing the client. So in these cases, the company will come to know of the transaction from the bank statement. They will find an account charge has been imposed, or some account holding charges have been done. So those will need to be again entered into the system as a transaction. So you can create transactions directly in cash management module itself, which will ensure that these transactions are recorded and then eventually transferred to general ledger through the Excel tables. All right. So you have two things mainly in cash management. One is the bank branches account information, and then you have the transactions which are there in the bank statement but missing from your books of account, from your ledger transactions or from your sub ledgers. Those will be can be created in cash management. Another important transaction that happens in the that is there in the bank statements regularly is the interest that is payable. Interest in terms of half yearly interest or fixed deposit interest that the bank directly credits to your account. So it doesn't send you it doesn't wait for an invoice, or it doesn't wait for a payments or anything of that sort. So those things are directly created, and we create those transactions to ensure that your bank statement and the statement as per your account, as per your ledgers tally. So when we look at the bank uh, solution, essentially what you have a bank like an HDFC bank, a State Bank, or a ICICI bank. Then you have bank branches, different branches within the bank. So there could be within the city of Bangalore itself, you could have multiple bank branches. Then you have bank accounts. So each branch will have multiple bank accounts, and each account will be linked, will be generating bank statements. So from the bank statements, we generate other transaction reports like cash requirement report, miscellaneous report, and we do a bank reconciliation. So these are the typical transactions that we do within the cash management module. One, creating branch account information. Another one is doing uploading bank statements and generating regular transactions, reconciling transactions, doing statement reconciliation, and recording miscellaneous transactions. Okay, this is about fusion tax. So this in short is what is there in cash management. So we'll now go into the application and we will be seeing how we import bank branches from the system. So we get into the standard FinIMPL user, and within that when we go to the home page, there'll be one on cash management. There's nothing here. I don't see anything here. It means, oh yeah, there is cash management here. Okay, so you see this cash management, cash balances. So when you click on this, it shows you the bank wise balance, how much balance you have, and what was the target that you had set to against that particular account. Okay, and you can also look at view cash position. You can transfer funds from here between the banks, and these are the different transactions that you can do from here. Okay, now before we go and look at these in greater detail, first we will see how we create the banks and the bank branches. How do we import them into the application? For that, there is a separate spreadsheet loader that is to be used for loading the bank information. So you can come to the search and search for bank branches and accounts. Okay, here you have the setup banks, branches and accounts, and you have one which says upload bank branches and accounts. So when you click on setup bank branches, you get to see all the three here. Sorry. In one single place. So you can go in manually and create the bank branches or the bank accounts. the other hand, if you go to upload bank branches and accounts, here this is for uploading over here. You have an option which says create banks, branches and accounts in spreadsheet. Okay. So when we click on this, a spreadsheet will open up. We download it. Okay. Now you have in this again, just like similar spreadsheets, this information tab where you have all the information and it tells you what are the things that you, what are the steps that you need to do, and then you have the bank account sheet. So over here you will be entering the mandatory ones essentially. This is the bank name that you can give. Now if you look at the help comment text here, this is your routing number. So here, just like in our case, we have the IFC code. So here also, these are the branch numbers. So BIC code is again a branch wise code, which is predefined and it has to be valid. Account name, you have SP account, currency USD. So here legal entity, account type, whether it's checking, savings, or bank or others. IBAN, any IBAN. US actually doesn't have IBAN accounts. In which modules you are going to use, and then you specify the cash account and the clearing account. So let me pull up a previous file that is there and get the information from there. So we could use these also. So like this one, this is the 061 number. So these would be the valid ones. BIC code. This is a valid BIC code like Bank of America. Obviously, when you would be migrating this information, the original information will be available with you, which you can reuse. Here's one legal entity checking, and these are the two cash account and the clearing account. Okay. So once this is done, you can save it and then generate the bank branches and the accounts file. So in this way, you can enter multiple banks also here and have the information recorded. Oh, bank code was also there. What happened? So you could right. So one bank, same branch, another account. So let's generate this one more time and then we'll save it. Now once this is saved, next is to go and upload it. So we have our XML file. So you could go and check in the monitor processes. So see, bank imported successfully, bank branches imported, bank accounts is imported. And if we now want to see it in the application, here there is only one option. Let me just log out and log in as another finance user, which may give better access to the cash management. Oh, I logged in by mistake. Should log into case account. So you see here cash balances and bank statements and reconciliation. So this was already where we had come and seen. And the other option was the bank statement and reconciliation. So this is the place where you have the bank statements and your, you can enable automatic reconciliation of the bank statements, or you can do them manually and then ensure they are checked between the transactions. So here you can see the bank statements. So you can create the bank statements in spreadsheet also. We'll come back to it later. Uh, any other cash transactions that you do and the bank statement report. Okay. So let's first take a look at the banks that we have uploaded. So for that, we will get into the setup and maintenance. We'll search for bank. So bank branch and bank account, right? So these are all statement related stuff. So we'll go into this bank general information, manage banks. So manage banks is gives you the list of all the banks. So if you remember, we had named our bank as SP. So here's the SP bank that I just now created. Okay. So the bank will have addresses, will have contacts. So if required, all this can be done. And against this particular bank, if you want to look at the branches, then you'll click on view branches. Here you have the branch name, details of the bank, it is for the Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank. It was showing. That's why it was showing something else. Now we have the SP branch with the BIC code branch number being visible. So bank branch is the one that we see next. Then within the bank, we have accounts. Within the branch, we have accounts. So we created two accounts. So you see both of them over here. Okay. So to which branch they are tagged and which bank. And these are the business units to which it is tagged. Okay. So as you can see, the account use has also come in from here. This is where you tag in case you want payroll also included. You can tag it to payroll also. So when you tag it, this appears. This bank will appear in the list of branches in payroll. If the payables is tagged, it will come in payables. If the receivables is tagged, it will come in receivables. Okay. Any users and roles to whom you want to specifically give this, so then you are securing this by users and roles. Right now everybody can view it. If you want to secure it, only they will get access to it. Whoever is mentioned here. This is the legal entity name that we had specified. These are some of the reconciliation controls. When you're doing bank statement reconciliation, you can set up the different rules. What are the tolerances? What is the exchange rate, processing method? What, how those transactions will be separated and parsed, and rules. And in case you have some transactions that are missing, you can automatically create certain rules. Based on certain rules, transactions will get automatically created. And then you have the different GL accounts and cash clearing account and all of this. Okay. So this was about the bank branches and the bank accounts. Next, we'll go into the individual transactions relating to the bank. So for that, we will get into the first. We'll go into cash balances. Okay. So you have different banks here. These are certain bank groups that you can define. Anybody without a statement, 5 accounts that are missing the statement. You can do a filter in this mode also. Okay. And which bank, which branches. So based on that, if you want to look at any particular bank account, you click on that. Okay. And gives you information. It's 2 days old. In case, before doing anything, typically the transactions that we do is like, view the cash position or do a 5-day forecast of what you need in terms of the coming week, like today being a Monday. How much of balances do you need? How much inflow is expected this week? How much outflow is expected this week? So inflow outflow is typically in terms of what is being envisaged as payments coming in or expenses. If you look at this breakup here, you will see outflow from invoices, AP invoices. So much of it is being due. So much becomes due. Inflow, what is the source of inflow? You can see the source from AR. This much of funds is expected. So when we say AR, we are looking at the customer payment terms, let's say 30 days or 45 days, whatever the number of days of transactions, payment terms that we had decided based on the invoices that have been raised. So much of fund is expected to come in. And on the payables invoice side, again, we have a payment due date based on the payment terms. There it will show you what are the payment dues and from when to when. Now, in terms of outflow, you could also have the payroll outflows recorded. So these are the two main sources of outflows, payables and here they have it. There is nothing else here. All are AP related. Okay. So this is the forecast. What is coming? So the net projected is the opening balance minus inflow plus plus inflow minus outflow is the projected amount. Okay, this plus this. Where you have both, it's easier to understand the math. 36 plus 91 plus 91 uh, inflow plus 91 minus 27, and this is the balance. Okay. Now you also have a cash position which shows you the current cash position. Now from here you can also transfer the funds from one bank to another bank. So from one account, let's say Bank of America, and how much fund you $1,000 is one. Now, this one, in this case, settle transaction, there will be a separate payment file that will get created, or you can do a direct transfer. Okay, in that case, you don't have to enter this information. You can directly transfer the money from BOFA to SP account. In case you want it through a separate payment, it will be then it will be routed through payables for payment. So these are the bank account transfers. SP Bank, see the status is completed. Okay. You can create further bank account transfers from here. Now this is to account 2. Transfer 500. Again, I will not do this. It will immediately show, otherwise it will come in through your bank transfer, through your payments. So this 500 is now completed. So once you save it, it's like a account group. So this becomes the list of account groups. So this variance is between the difference between this and this amount. Okay, and view cash position. This is the one that we saw a few minutes back. This is just the current uh, situation of that particular bank. Now, after doing this, you could also have certain ad hoc payments that you are making from here directly. So in that case, you would be having create ad hoc payments from which account we have. Who is the payee? So these pays you can also create a separate payee. You might have noticed a few minutes back in that draw out menu that we saw, or you can pick one of the existing payees from here. And what is the payee's bank account? How much of payment do you want to make? If you want it through payments, then you have to provide all this information. We'll not go into that. We'll directly submit. So these are the ad hoc payments that you are making. See, this one is now completed. Ad hoc payment for advanced research. now let's go to the bank. So this manage bank statements that you see here, it gives you the bank statements from individual accounts that you have imported into your bank account, into the cash management module. You can also import transactions from your existing bank statements, from where you can review the details of what are the different transactions and them, and some of which may be missing from the system. So for that, you can also upload bank statements. So for that, you have load and import bank statements. You can also create the bank statements in spreadsheet. So this load and bank imports bank statement is as per the your like a file based data import utility. Bank sends you the bank statement in a soft copy format, could be txt or could be a csv file, and that file itself you're directly loading into the application. The another option could be you put it in a spreadsheet and then you upload the spreadsheet, right? Cash management bank statement import template. This bank statement is a bit elaborate. You have four different sheets here, five. Oh, more. So first is the header. Okay. So what is the statement number, bank account number, intraday statement, statement date, and so on. Next is the statement balances. So debit, credit, debit, credit. It shows you whether it is a debit or a credit. Then you have statement balance validity availability. When is this balance as of? What is the cutoff date basically? Then we have the individual statement lines. What type of transaction it was, and what is the amount involved. Transaction codes. Statement line as of which date it is, and any statement line charges that might apply. Once you have entered all this information, you have the button here to generate the CSV file. So you have to generate the CSV file and upload that CSV file. So let me open one spreadsheet. Okay, this is something that we tried out before. So there is a statement header, okay, and statement from date to date, which is the bank. So we can say in our case it will be SP Bank, branch number, this is the branch number. Okay, so this is bank account number. So bank account number was over here. So we can either update or we can update this one also. So this is the bank account number, intraday settlement, which date, statement from, uh, then the branch number. So we had the branch number over here. So rest of the things can remain as it is. The statement balances, again you have the bank account number. So the same bank account number we'll have here also. Okay. Now once this is done, once we say generate, this is where it will go, and once all these five sheets are updated, we go and click on this generate CSV file. So let's say we want to load it as of 31st. Sorry. These are the statement numbers. Those files, the spreadsheet were existing, so that's why it was not able to generate those. So now we save the zip file, and then we have to save the individual CSV files also. Individual files have to be saved. So all those files have been created. The next step is to upload the bank statement. So for that, we'll go and say, we can
normal one. We'll have to upload the bank. This is the load interface file for import. So we'll load that file first. Load interface file for import. So here we have the load and import file. Load interface file for import. So in this particular case, this one will first transfer the data from here into the UCM directory. When we say UCM, this is basically the staging place for loading all the files in your server. So which import process you want to run. So here you will find the instruction which says import bank statements in spreadsheet. This is the process. Okay. So once you load this, you have to point out to the upload a new file, and this would be your zip file that you have just now created. This was the CE bank statement zip file. then we submit it. So once that is submitted, so this data will get loaded into the interface files. Okay. From the interface file, okay, these statements will be available for reconciliation. So import bank statements from the spreadsheet and look at the log file. Nothing seems to have happened. Let's now go and check. So this is the SP account now. See, this is the statement. This is the opening balance. These are the individual lines. 500, 500. So since this was deposited and the status is unreconciled, that means there is no corresponding transaction to which it will match up. So against this, you could possibly do two things. One is to run an auto reconcile, or you can do them manually. So if you do a auto reconcile, system will run this statement and check whatever transactions match up. It will automatically try to match it with the transactions that we have. See, it gives a message here. So if you want to review this particular transaction and see what exactly happened, so each of these lines you can see what is the background of this particular transaction. Right? There were two charge codes, charge amounts that were meted out. Now, you can choose these individual bank statements, and these are manual system transactions that you have. So if you want to do a manual transaction, you will find there'll be a transaction against which you can then do a debit or a credit. Now let's say this one 500 is a deposit, right? And SP account, and it is against SP account number 1, I think. SP account. So if I do a manual transaction here, let's say 500, and value date will put it as 19th of May, and account transactions, and then we'll say save and close. You can just copy this. Now against this particular bank statement, if you want to do a manual reconciliation, so under this you have the manual reconciliation. Under reconciliation here, manual reconciliation, and you choose the bank. Now you see you have so many accounts, two transactions on the bank statement lines, and different transactions here. Okay, so this is the transaction that we just now did. So this is 1,500, which I am tracking against this 500. Okay, this comes in the way. And there is a reconcile button here. So there is difference one selected, difference is 0, and I say reconcile. Okay, you see this here right at the bottom. It's getting a bit difficult to see it because of that chat window that they have there, but you can merely click on it. Take my word for it that it is a reconcile button. So there is a difference in the date. It said 8th of May, whereas we have entered it as 19th of May. But you still want to continue, so you say yes. So now if we go and see reconciled, this was unreconciled, for which account? So one of the lines has now been reconciled, right? External statement, external transaction, which we manually entered, and this came in through the bank statement. Okay. So here what we are doing a manual reconciliation. If we enter a transaction, we can also do it automatic reconciliation as well. We enter a transaction manually and then we run a check on that same day. So as a practice for all of you, I will suggest after you have loaded, done one manually, this transaction is there, create a transaction manually, external transaction as of that date. Okay, create transaction and then run a auto reconciliation for that bank account as of that date. System will match those two and produce you the report. Okay, Amit, Amit, hello Amit.